Welcome to Inside the Deal. I'm Trent Ziegler, your host, and this is where we break down how real operators are actually building, scaling, and closing deals in real estate today. Today, I'm joined by James Brown, owner at James Brown Real Estate. Appreciate you being here, James.
Thanks, man. This is gonna be fun.
Yeah, no, of course. Just framing the call here, what is it that somebody in residential real estate or your business specifically do on a day-to-day?
Oh my goodness, where do we start? Uh, well, this business prospecting is huge, and of course, there's a lot of different ways to do that depending on the business, right? So
Right.
I'm an investor agent focused on helping investors, but I
Mhm.
help regular buyers and sellers too.
Okay.
But yeah, so connecting with investors, I do a lot of networking. I've got my own podcast. Those
Right.
are ways to like kind of get in front of people on awareness. But
Yeah.
then we've got some software. I don't know if I had mentioned this to you before. We've got some software for finding off-market sellers and
Oh, cool.
investor buyers. It's really cool. We just came out with it, started building it in the fall, and it's
Super cool.
working
And that
really
so that
well.
falls under the blanket of your company, James Brown Real Estate.
Yeah, a partner of mine has built it with
Okay.
his programmer. Yeah,
Okay.
so I'm using it.
Neat.
Like I
Yeah.
didn't create it myself, but yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's part
Super.
of my business is using it.
Yeah. Super awesome. Well, the quick backstory: how did you, James Brown, get into real estate?
Um, Going back, I remember being, I was in college. My dad's like, "Hey man, you should go buy a duplex, live in one side, rent out the other, like
Mhm.
house hack basically, whatever."
Yeah.
And I didn't end up doing that, but I did buy a house right after college with my brother and then kind of pivoted from there. It actually took me a while to like get going. And I've had some fallbacks and stuff, but I ended up buying a house in 2006 before the crash with
Okay.
the idea of like building some equity and leveraging that. And '08 crash hit and like there's no equity in it.
Mhm.
So
Right.
that put me on my heels for quite a few years. But the Denver market, like it'll go down, but it comes back up. Like
Right.
we have appreciation if you wait long enough. And I was able to hold it
Yeah.
and turned my extra bedroom into Airbnb. I was a super host, so kind of that that was paying for my brand new truck payment.
There you
I was
go.
like, yeah, this is why this is
Yeah.
why you do this and
Yeah.
put up with whatever you got to put up with.
Right.
So, and then I mean, backstory to continue. It was about 2017. I was like, I got to get serious about this.
Mhm.
Now that I got some equity in the house, what do I do? I ended up selling my house, took all my equity, use it to go full time into real estate.
Mhm.
So I pivoted from my 25-year career as a graphic designer
Graphic designer.
full
Okay.
time into real estate, investing, mainly investing. I'm trying to keep this short. So rent to own investing, lease options was
Mhm.
our main thing. Now we've gotten into co-living. We've invested in apartment buildings. Um, so it's been a lot's happened since 2017. Like it's
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
awesome. So graphic design, that's kind of a big transition. Like
yeah,
not really similar worlds. I guess you could bring graphic design into, your company now, obviously, with like marketing and stuff like that, but
yeah, yeah.
not super similar. That's interesting.
No, no. And like especially the type of real estate I'm in, it's creative, you know,
Mhm.
creative financing, lease options,
Right.
and subject to that, all those kinds of creative things. So my
Mhm.
brain is still engaged in always thinking of new things, but it's different than the graphic design
Right.
creativity for sure.
Different
Right.
types.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
Awesome. So,
yeah.
zooming out a little bit, what are you seeing in your industry right now? Talking about shifts. So, like, what are you seeing that's changing? How is the landscape changing for people who do what you do, whether it be nationally, within your state, or just locally there in Denver?
Yeah. Well, rent to own specifically, that's it's gotten harder with the model we do, um, because typically we're the way we like to do it, we've got a buyer that can't get qualified for a loan. We let them pick out a house that's on market, and we, as the investor, go and buy it, lease it to them, rent
Mhm.
until they can get a loan from a bank and buy it. Part of that is like we buy it at today's price and have a set price in the future that's normally a higher price, right? They're buying at tomorrow's price, but right now with the market, it's like, where's it going? Like
Right.
that's made it challenging, and interest rates are high, right? Higher. They're
Yeah.
still historically they're a good, it's a good rate, but
Yeah.
um, so there's some challenges there. We can kind of push cash flow with rent to own a little bit.
Mhm.
Not too much. I mean, somewhere around market rent. But Denver, the rents have not kept up with where mortgages are.
Mhm.
So it's harder to make something pencil, even with rent own. So that's why we got into co-living. For people that don't know that term, it's basically renting all separate rooms out in a house.
Mhm.
But not like house hacking where you're living in the house, like more of a as an institutional type investment where you don't live there, but you rent out the rooms. And that's one of the only ways to cash flow right out of the gate, put 20-25% down.
Right.
Um, so that's why I pivoted to at least adding that to what I do.
Yeah.
And then I help investors with flips and buy and hold as well. Of course,
Okay.
the buy and hold, the strategies are those different things, rent to own, co-living, sober living, senior housing, all of those kind of work.
Right.
So
Right.
yeah. And I've done rent to own in multiple states. And every market's a little different, but
Yeah.
right now I'm just focused on the Denver market for my direct business.
Right. And so that's been working well for you, the rent to own business model.
Yeah, it's gotten harder, like I said, so getting more into the co-living, adding things on, not just being
Yeah.
pigeonholed because
Okay.
markets change. And so
Yeah.
like if it's good to niche down, right?
Mhm.
But not if the market shifts and something stops working, right?
Right.
So good to,
So if the
yeah.
market continues kind of down its current trajectory to where it's, making it more difficult for you to continue on with this rent to own, what would how would you pivot?
Yeah, I'm just pivoting more into like being an investor agent. That's the other thing. Like I did not start out wanting to be an agent. Um, I just wanted to invest, but
Right.
it's a way to be in the business, understand the business from the inside out, and be able to be knowledgeable for myself and my clients.
Mhm.
And also, it's good for networking with other agents and lenders. Like being in the club really helps, as opposed to like wholesalers kind of coming from the outside and maybe not knowing everything, and also just not having that kind of mutual level of respect. A lot of agents and lenders would kind of put wholesalers at kind of the bottom feeder kind of status. And so if you're licensed, you've leveled up. So
Right, right. Okay. So, an investor agent, can you define or rather, is an investor agent when you say that you just mean so you're an agent, but you're doing what you said earlier, and you're working with this client over here who wants to buy this house. Maybe they can't buy it yet, so you're investing in that property. You're buying that property and then eventually selling.
oh, that's with like the rent to own.
Okay.
I'm talking more investor agent, investor focused agent maybe is a better term. Investor friendly is another term people use where, because there's a lot of agents out there that have no idea anything about investing.
Right.
They don't know what cash on cash return is. They've never even seen a calculator. And like how it's another world when you look at it from the
Yeah.
investing standpoint.
Yeah.
So it's a fraction of the population of agents that do that, understand it, even at a surface level. So that's my thing is I'm not going out actively trying to compete against the rest of the agents, the 1.7 million or something that
Yeah.
are just trying to help regular primary home buyers and sellers, right?
Right.
That's a tough business, especially because the stats say people now only move every 14 years.
Hmm.
That's a long time to wait for your client to to buy or sell it again, right? And agents or sorry, investors, it's every 2 years. And some, by multiple a year, so that but the average is every 2 years. That's a much better,
Right.
more consistent business to be in. But
Yeah.
you got to know what the hell you're doing with help actually help them and guide and support them,
Right. So I think
Yeah.
maybe I'm still a little bit unclear as far as like an investor agent who's you're getting the investment or you're helping your client with their investments.
All of the above.
Okay.
Yeah. So whether they're looking for, I kind of put them in two different categories. There's the fix and flip, where they're just trying to find a really good deal, something distressed, where
Mhm.
they remodel it and turn around and list it on the market.
Yeah.
Ideally, I list it as a fully remodeled house.
Okay.
Um, so that's not really investing, but let's put them in that investor category.
Mhm.
Because if you make enough money flipping, then you turn around and the goal is usually to buy
Right.
rentals, right?
Mhm.
And then there's just the buy and hold investors that are looking for long-term rentals, short-term rentals, mid-term rentals. Maybe it's rent to own, maybe it's co-living, sober living. That's the thing is like I started getting into this and I'm like, oh, there's so many other ways besides fix and flip and long-term rentals,
Mhm.
right? And but sometimes I partner with those investors, so I'm involved in it. But usually I'm just teeing up other investors.
Right.
Um, yeah,
Gotcha. Okay.
yeah.
Um, well, we kind of been talking about your business already and what's working well for you right now. Like you're transitioning from the rent to own, kind of into to co-living more so to help you bridge that gap from, over the market right now. So what's been on the flip side of that? What's been frustrating for you or hard to deal with right now that you haven't necessarily been able to pivot from?
The trickiest part is just getting spread too thin because I got limited time and
Right.
resources. Like, where where do I focus, right? I mean, it's a constant problem. I'm getting more dialed in and like saying no to certain things like I've raised capital for some apartment buildings, townhomes, like syndications, 200 unit. That's one of those that market's shifted. There's some buying opportunities with some of those right now because a lot of them are not cash flowing and they're
Mhm.
having to do capital calls and it's kind of a mess. Um, but like I'm not raising capital for those anymore. Like, okay, set that aside. Like, it's just let's stay in residential, single family.
Right.
Just not get spread so darn thin.
Hmm. So it seems like
Um,
there's a lot of opportunity in
yeah,
different areas, and just having to. What's frustrating for you is having to focus or double down in one specific place.
exactly. Yeah.
Gotcha.
The real estate is it's a double-edged sword. There's lots of shiny objects.
Right.
There's lots of ways to make money.
Mhm.
But if you just it's like chasing rabbits. Like if you can't choose
Right.
one. If there's two, you're not going to catch either of them, right?
Right. Right.
Yeah. So
Gotcha. Well,
yeah.
talking about good deals and bad deals. So what's the best deal that you've ever done in your career, and what made it your best deal?
Mm. One of my favorites was like I think it was the first rent to own deal we put together. Um, so it was the buyer was a newer real estate agent, and this is what I love about this story is like I like helping other agents. Being a real estate agent is a very tough thing. Most people from the outside just think it's all glamour. Well, like showing luxury properties and making tons of money.
Right.
The reality is way different for most agents, right? So my passion is like helping other agents succeed and invest. Like, there's so many agents that don't take advantage of the fact that they're in this business and they should be investing and smoothing out those ups and downs because it's a roller coaster. So I was just talking to a guy who's been licensed for 30 some years. He's like, man, if I hadn't invested and had a mentor just tell me, do this, like forced him like to
Yeah.
do it. He's like, he wouldn't be here because the investments, the cash flow from that helped smooth things out and was able to build. And now, like, he's an awesome guy.
Mhm.
He pays for some people that just can't afford rent. Like, he's kind of giving back.
Right.
Um, but that's kind of my goal is to help other agents figure this business out, work with investors and be investors themselves.
Right.
Um, yeah.
So the
Where
people.
are we going with that?
Yeah. Good. Your best deal and what made it the best. It sounds
Yeah.
like
Oh
it's
yeah.
relational. Is
Yeah,
it?
yeah. So the first one was an agent. This was in Minnesota. He had only been an agent for about a year, and we're independent contractors. We're self-employed. Banks don't like us as agents, right? So he couldn't get a loan, but he picked out a duplex.
Mhm.
We bought it. He was able to live in one side, rent out the other side. I think he was with what our rent was to him, he was only paying like 400 bucks a month.
Oh, nice.
Um, and this was during a good run up. And he was able to buy it within 18 months. Um, and then I think he walked into probably 40 grand or more equity
Hmm.
because the purchase price to him was lower than what the market was. So he was able to refinance and pull money out. And he also went and bought a single family home with his wife. They'd just gotten married. So like all of a sudden he had two doors to a duplex to rent and a single family home. Again, that was a kind of an anomaly because of the timing and the equity built so quick. Um, but that was one of my favorite deals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, on the other edge of the leaf, or on the other side of the leaf, rather, what's the worst deal that you've ever done, and what went wrong? What made it so bad? What did you learn from it?
Um, one of the hardest ones, it was still a success. We got this couple a house. It was it was riskier, so I helped them sell a house. They already had a house, but
Mhm.
this was during COVID. Some things had gone wonky with their jobs, and they were missing some payments. And they're like, "Ah, we got to get out." Luckily, they had some equity, so I helped them sell their house. But they wanted to move out of Denver to a rural area of Colorado.
Mhm.
For one, it wasn't in my market, so I didn't know that area. So I relied on some other agents in the area to help them find a house.
Yeah.
The trick was their purchase price was low. The inventory there, most of it was modular or um, mobile homes. You
Mhm.
know, it was hard. The competition for stick-built frame homes was high, especially that kind of lower
Yeah.
price point. Um, so it was hard to find anything and hard to find an investor that was willing to invest there and in a modular mobile home. Eventually, we found him a stick-built house and made it work. But it also was rural, so we had well and we had septic and
Yeah.
two parcels that hadn't been merged, and the buyers were really tough to deal with. I mean, they ended up yelling at my investor that actually stuck with them for some reason.
Mhm.
So that was I lost a lot of sleep on that one.
Yeah.
So
Gotcha.
um,
So
yeah.
relational as well. So that.
Yeah,
A good deal for you was defined by making good relationships and making good connections with other realtors and clients. And
yeah,
uh, it seems like also on a bad deal, the worst part was probably the clients as well.
yeah, yeah. It can be the whole spectrum.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, looking forward to the future. Where do you want to be, 12, 18 months from now? What are your goals for your company?
Um, yeah, just some more consistent personal deal flow. But I'm building a team of investor agents locally
Okay.
and and nationwide. Um, I call it a team, more of like a network where I'm helping them get off the ground. We can do referrals back and forth, and
Right.
so I'm excited about that because it's not just about me and my business.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and we're putting the final touches on a co-living agent accelerator is what we call it.
Mhm.
So a course where agents can go through it and just point A to D, whatever,
Right.
um, all this stuff, and we've built a really nice calculator. They have everything they need to be able to go be a certified co-living agent in their market.
Mhm.
Yeah. And so that's also creating a network of co-living agents around the country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Expansion. Um, well, yeah. So what's been the biggest bottleneck for you in your business? What's been the thing that's been holding you back most from your goals or the most from growth?
Um, Controlling my time and saying no to things because there's a lot of things that are it's fun to do. Like getting on podcasts is fun and it's valuable, right? But it's not making me direct money, right?
Right.
Um, Maybe that's a bad example. Um, but there's a lot of I've got a lot of demands and a lot of things that I want to do. I mean, the ideas I come up with are just never ending,
Yeah.
and I can't do everything. So, like using AI,
Mhm.
anyway, yeah. So using AI to kind of create some systems and get some feedback
Yeah.
on business building, like which way to go, and
Mhm.
um, automating some tasks. That's been pretty amazing.
Yeah.
I haven't been using a VA in recently, but there's a lot of things like I should not be doing. I should be handing off like as an example, I've been on probably 50 podcasts.
Mhm.
Hardly anybody knows that I've been on them. Sometimes I'll post that, hey, I've been on this show, but I'm not like chopping it up into clips and sharing that out to social media and like getting leveraging that, utilizing that to kind of get my face out there,
Right.
and connect with people. So that's where I'm like, okay, I got to figure out have a VA do that because it's been on my list for months and months and months. Like I'm just not getting to it. Right.
Right. VA virtual assistant, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, gotcha. And when you say virtual assistant, you mean somebody it's a person, right? They just
Yeah.
like offshore or something individual, not
Exactly.
virtual assistant like when you go to an e-commerce website. Hey, I'm your virtual assistant. Right.
Exactly. A person
Okay.
in the Philippines, or that's who I've used in the past. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I
It's
come from,
amazing.
yeah. I had a
Yeah.
conversation with somebody the other day about virtual assistants, and I come from an e-commerce background. So virtual assistant to me is like, oh, okay, they're talking about AI, they're talking about programs. And
Yeah.
I went the whole conversation until I realized, wait, no, he's talking about a real person. So
Yep. Yep.
that was funny.
Yeah. And not a veteran. Like VA,
Right,
Veterans
right,
Association.
right.
That's the other thing. I mean, that's a common term in real estate, like
Hmm.
VA loans and whatnot.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah. So you talked about AI. Where are you currently using AI, and or maybe thinking about using it? What feels manual to you? Like where should you be using AI? Where's the best place that you think you could use AI?
Oh man. That's it's so funny because like the more you get into it and start using it and talking to other people, I was like, oh my goodness, how much this can do so many things.
Right.
Um, Initially, I was just like, oh, let me see if it can. Uh, Dang it, my phone's ringing again. Do you hear it?
Yeah, I hear this now.
I can't. I can't stop it. Usually, it opens up. Oh, oh, there we go. Uh, Finally got a little thing that popped up. Um, so initially, I was like writing descriptions for listings, property descriptions
Hmm.
is painful
Yeah.
because it's basically a bulleted list, like all the features, right?
Mhm.
But you want to make it sound nice, kind of turn it into not a story, but make
Yeah.
it flow. It's so hard to do that. Some
Mhm.
people like it and are good at it, but I'm like, that's how what I started with it
Yeah.
doing. Um, but the big shift for me recently was discovering Claude Cowork.
Mhm.
Holy smokes. First thing I did was I wanted to pull a list of other real estate agents that have shown buyers my listings. And so I had it go in because you couldn't like just pull a list out of our MLS or the showing time, which is our the showing service that has all of the agents. And I wanted to get their names, phone numbers, and emails so I could reach out to them.
Mhm.
It would have taken me or a virtual assistant hours and hours to pull. I don't know, I ended up pulling like 600 contacts.
Mhm.
But the only way to do it was to like go and find a table, click on a button to get their details, copy, paste, put it into a spreadsheet, and it did that in, you know, once I told it what to do, it did it so fast.
Yeah.
So that was like kind of my first like, aha, holy smokes, what else can this do?
Yeah.
Now I'm looking like as an agent, helping with me with pulling comps, competitive properties. Um, I've used it to kind of set up my listing appointment setup. So like creating some questions for the clients, kind of a walkthrough checklist as I'm going through with them, a follow-up. So that helped me with that. And then setting up in my CRM kind of a workflow, like so I can just kind of drag them along the process once we're under contract. I'm going to start using it to put together my deals of the week email. So I'll have like, hey, a fix and flip in Thornton, Colorado, and a luxury property in Lakewood or whatever. Like finding those properties, formatting it, and putting it into an email is painful, and I'm not doing it, but
Mhm.
I'm going to use it for that. So those are kind of some highlights, things that I'm using it for or going to.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah, incredibly capable. AI is incredibly capable.
yeah.
Well, yeah, closing out here, if you had to give somebody some advice who was just getting into real estate, wanted to start their own company, what advice would you give them?
Well, pick a niche. There's a lot of different ways to go with real estate,
Right.
whether they're an agent, they just want to invest, but learn one area that speaks to them and um, works with their personality and what they like to do. Like some people are very data analyst type people, right? Some are very like me, more just personal,
Yeah.
talking to people. Like I don't want to mess with the numbers, right? So figure out where your strengths are and
Mhm.
then what you want to do and which area of real estate you want to get into. So that's the first thing. And then I would say get a mentor no matter what you're doing. And you can have multiple ones depending on what you're doing, right? Like I got into rent to own. I've paid a lot of money and spent a lot of time with multiple different mentors in the real estate rent to own lease option space.
Right.
Um, I wouldn't be here if I hadn't had somebody showing me the way and hand holding and answering questions. So there's money behind that. You got to pay money, but the money you save in time and frustration and making mistakes, especially if somebody is wanting to get into like fix and flip.
Right.
that's a very tough business
Mhm.
for many reasons. So if you don't want to just wing that, there's no way.
Yeah.
You gotta get a mentor and plug into their network of lenders and contractors and all that stuff too. There's a
Mhm.
lot of value to that. So,
So pick your craft, be specific, master your craft, master with a mentor.
yep.
Love it. Where can people find you at, James?
JamesBrownRealEstate.com/connect.
All right.
Keep it
Uh,
simple.
yeah, nice. Well, thanks for coming on today and giving us some insight into your operations and what it is to be an investor
Yeah.
agent. Yeah, like I always say, knowledge is wealth. We'll spread the wealth. So thanks for spreading your wealth with all of us today.
Yeah. Right on. Thanks.